Hey guys, welcome to another video of me unboxing some imported games. I enjoyed making the last video so much that I thought I'd make another one. It's been about 6 or 7 weeks since my last import batch arrived, so this one has filled up quite a bit. I've gone pretty hard on this batch. It's like significantly bigger than the last batch, so this could be a really long video. I might end up putting it into 2 parts, or it could just be one particularly long video. I haven't decided yet. I've got my box cutter and scissors, and let's get stuck into it. Alright, this could take a while. Alright, I decided to add to my 2D Sega Saturn fighting collection in the form of the Fatal Fury collection. So this is a collection of the 2 Fatal Fury games that were released on 2D Fatal Fury games that were released on the Saturn. They require the expansion cartridge. Apparently they're really solid fighting games. I got this mainly because I found it so cheap. This collection was only about 3,800 yen, when like individually just one of those games can go for a pretty similar price. So in this condition, for this price, I couldn't not do it. And yeah, there's not too much else to say. Just, you know, a solid collection of 2 SNK fighting games. I just find it really entertaining, by the way, that on the front it just has Terry, like in just a weird sort of out of place font, just Terry, like nothing else. I don't know what their idea behind that is, but Terry, what more can you say other than Terry? If that's not a selling point, I don't know what is. Okay, next up we actually have 2 games I've been interested in for quite a while actually. It's Popular Croix, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 1. These are some JRPGs, and to be honest I've always been quite interested just given the really cute looking art style and the sort of, I guess, unique setting. Recently there was actually an anime that aired called All Summer Ranking, and the concept of that show actually reminded me of the concept of this, wherein you play as a young prince who, I guess, like their stature is, you know, quite small and quite weak, but you go on this big epic adventure to save a kingdom, essentially. I know there was these 2 games, they haven't been local. I know the first game definitely has not been localized, and the second game has a fan translation, but I believe large portions of it are simply machine translated, and so I was a bit hesitant to play a translation like that. There is the PSP version of the game, but I hear that isn't great, because what it essentially does, it combines the 2 games into one game on the PSP. However, it, as a result, cuts a lot of content that's actually seen on these games. And so when wanting to experience these, I figured the best thing to do would probably be just to play the full, proper games. You always know shit's real when the sequel is across 3 discs and not just the one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to finally check these games out. Next up, okay, we have Ridge Racer Type 4. I mean, absolute classic. I did own this game growing up, but I lost it at some point and I have no idea where it went. But this game, when I was younger, it left a very big impression on me. Just from a pure stylistic standpoint, it was unlike anything I'd ever really played before. Like, I viscerally remember the first time I watched that intro movie. I was blown away. And the game itself is amazing. Like, I can't think of a better racing game soundtrack, just full stop, to be honest. And so, yeah, I just wanted to pick this up just to have it back in my collection. And I also believe this comes with a bonus disc, which is actually, I think Namco, they remade, or not remade, they just remastered the first Ridge Racer game on the second disc of this, but the difference is that it actually runs at 60 FPS. Like, they wanted to see if on the PS1 they could have a racing game run at 60 FPS, so they just simply did that to the first game. And from what I hear, it works. Also, might I add, this case is in ludicrously good condition. It was in about 4 layers of protective packaging. And it shows as well, because there is not a scratch on this. I got this for at an absolute bargain price of about like 500 yen or something like that. I mean, that's just what collecting for these old Japanese PS1 games is like. It's just so, with a few exceptions, they're so cheap usually. I have to say, I absolutely love the colour scheme. I love the, I don't know, is it just orange? I just love this type of orange, it's beautiful. Alright, moving right along. Man, we're just getting all these PS1 games at once out of the way, aren't we? So we have Summer Night 1 and 2. I have played Summer Night 5 on the PSP, and it was a pretty cool game. I have been somewhat interested in playing the first two just because they seem like just really cute, solid strategy RPGs. And these were really cheap. I think both of these I got for about 600 or 700 yen, like, together. So, yeah. There's not really too much to say. Again, these are in pretty solid condition, especially the second one. Like, I see a few scratches on the case of the first one, but the second one looks in really, really mint. And unfortunately, I don't think there are any fan translations, like, at all. I think, is 5 might be the first one to ever get localized. I know 5 is definitely localized, and 6 is localized, but I think all the others are still, they never came to the West, which is a shame. Summer Nights 3 looks really good too, so if I do end up liking these first 2 games, I'll definitely check 3 out. That's on the PS2. And interestingly, these seem to be developed by Banpresto. I don't know what other games Banpresto has even made, to be honest. I know them better for figures and merchandise than I do games. Okay, so we don't actually have a typical packaging this time, we actually have a box. So I'm interested to see what's inside of this. Okay, we have, for the Super Famicom, we have Final Fight 2. I got this because it was pretty cheap. I think I got it for about 1,000, not 1,000 yen, maybe 1,500 yen or something like that. I'll have to check. But it wasn't expensive, and I wanted it because, I guess, I mean, I'm not that knowledgeable on my Super Famicom brawlers, but I think this is sort of meant to be like the quintessential one, sort of similar to how you have Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive / Genesis, you have Final Fight on the Super Famicom. So I figured, you know, I don't have any brawlers for the system. It feels, you know, and it's always good to have a brawler on every system, if you ask me. So yeah, I decided to pick it up. The box looks really solid. Got a very clean cartridge here. A manual which is in fantastic condition. Been very well looked after, clearly. These button combo illustrations are fantastic. Another box which is, this is pretty heavy. I have absolutely no idea what's in this. Okay, so a bit of context. Even though I've been getting these from a Japanese auction site, every now and then you get some listings where they're actually English versions of the games, which it doesn't happen too often, but every now and then you do see them, which is kind of odd. I don't know how they end up on there. There's this absolutely bonkers batch here. So what we have here, we have the English versions of, or specifically the North American greatest hits versions of Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, Chrono Cross, Parasite Eve, Rival Schools, and Legend of Dragoon. Now, I won't lie, these were pretty expensive to get. I had to bid a lot of money. However, I figured that Rival Schools alone in this goes for like $200. So I could quite easily sell that and make up over half of what I spent for the rest of these. I mainly bought them to have the English versions of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 because these are of course the North American versions and therefore the 60Hz versions. Like, sure, I could go and buy these games locally, but I would be playing the PAL version, not the NTSC version, and so that's really what I bought them for. I don't really mind that it's the greatest hits versions. Like, sure, I mean, you'd always probably rather the black label versions. However, I'm not that fussy really, just as long as I have a legit way of actually playing the game on original hardware at 60Hz. Like, that's fine with me. And all of these are complete, no missing instruction manuals, all the discs, and that is a lot of discs. Interestingly, Rival Schools is the only black label game in this batch, which is pretty neat. I don't even know if it's got a Greatest Hits edition. I'm guessing probably not. I've actually been quite interested in replaying Final Fantasy IX lately. It's been, what, 4 or 5 years since I played that game, so I feel like I'm due for a replay. I must say that I've always been a fan of the minimalist PAL or Japanese covers of the PS1 Final Fantasy games. However, I feel like the North American editions do have their own charm as well. Parasite Eve is actually a game that I finished recently, relatively recently, in January or February I think it was. And that was a cool game. It's nice to own this physically, especially when there is no, as far as I know, in fact I'm almost certain, there's no PAL release of the first game. There is Parasite Eve 2 released in Europe, but no Parasite Eve 1, which is like, it's just weird. I digress. It was a cool game. It's heavily flawed, but very enjoyable, very interesting, unique, ambitious, all the things that Square was in the 90s. Rival Schools, I'm actually thinking I might sell this and just simply get a very cheap Japanese copy instead. Because, you know, it's cool to have it in English and all, but I don't really see the point when I can, you know, quite easily get my money back, or a good portion of it back by selling this. So that's something that I will think about. However, I guess I'll start by like actually playing the game. I've never played Rival Schools. I hear it's, you know, fantastic, a great 3D fighter. So I'm keen on seeing what all the hype is about. I'm not sure if it's actually like genuinely good, or it's just sort of grown a cult following over the years, but I guess I'll find out. Legend of Dragoon, I actually did previously own the PAL version of Legend of Dragoon like quite a few years ago. However, I ended up selling it just because the PAL version goes for insane money compared to the NTSC version. So it's cool to have this in my collection again. I'm not really sure what else to say. I didn't really get that far into it, to be honest. So, not because I didn't enjoy it or anything like that, I just sort of just got left behind with me playing a bunch of other games. So I'm keen to, you know, give it another shot. I'm actually really excited to have a copy of Chrono Cross because that is another game that we in PAL Territories never got. And I hear that the recent remaster was a little lacking. Okay, so I believe the remainder of the games that we have to look at are actually in this slightly smaller box, but still a good, decent size. You actually got to be really careful when you're using box cutters near couches because you don't want to like be struggling and then actually just go into the fabric of the couch. That would be really bad. So just a word of warning. I don't know what has been with me today, but I've just been pulling out PS1 games. Like, I know I bought more than just PS1 games, but we've had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 PS1 games, 1 Super Famicom game, and 1 Sega Saturn game. Well, we have another one to add to the pile. We have Raystorm. Now, a bit of context, I got Layer Section when I bought my Sega Saturn, and I love Layer Section. It's such a solid, fun, accessible shoot 'em up. And when I found out that there was a Layer Section 2, I was like, sign me up. Turns out that Layer Section 2 was also released for the PS1 under the name Raystorm. And when deciding whether to get Layer Section 2 or Raystorm, I decided to go Raystorm for several reasons. One, this game actually has 3D graphics, so it just sort of looks a little bit better on the PlayStation. And also, it's significantly cheaper and easier to find, which is pretty typical when you compare Sega Saturn and PS1 games. I bought this for 1100 yen, whereas the Sega Saturn version was like 3000 maybe. So I'm pretty interested to see how this will compare with Layer Section. I'm sure it will be, you know, just as solid. I think there is a third game in this trilogy, but I haven't really done much research or looked into it, because I figured I should probably play this game first. Finally, we get something that isn't PlayStation. So, we have, for the Sega Saturn, House of the Dead, the one and only. So, I recently bought a light gun for my Sega Saturn. However, the issue is, I don't have any games to play with my light gun. So, I bought House of the Dead, because House of the Dead is awesome. I love the House of the Dead games. Particularly Overkill on the Wii and PS3, like man, that game just cracks me up. It's one of the funniest games I've ever played. Like, sort of juvenile, but I really like that game. So yeah, I'm keen to, you know, have fun with a light gun game. I actually haven't played like a light gun game on a CRT for a very long time. So it should be a good time and a bit of a blast from the past. Alright, another Sega Saturn game. We have Magic Knight Rayearth. This is probably my favourite Sega Saturn box art that I've seen, just full stop, no competition. I adore the 90s anime aesthetic, the clamp character designs. This game actually got me to start watching the anime, of which I've watched a few episodes, and I think it's utterly delightful. So I'm really keen to check out this game. I think it's a bit like a Zelda-like, a bit of a Zelda clone, sort of maybe even loopier type, where there's sort of an emphasis on exploration and puzzles and using different abilities. And I'm pretty sure it follows the story of the anime as well. I mean, man, how can you not love this box art? It is gorgeous. So here, as we see, it comes in a slipcase, and it contains, I don't know what this is. This is an instruction manual? I guess it is. It's a gorgeous instruction manual, wow. It's got character bios, yep, okay. It's even got a cast photo at the end here. I presume in the bottom left, those are the three, or the seiyuu of the main three characters. Awesome, awesome. Oh yeah, we've got some interviews as well. Nice. Aww, that's such a cute illustration of the back. That's awesome. I'm so glad that I got the slipcase version, because I know there are some listings where you could just buy the CD case, but I definitely wanted this slipcase with the extra booklet as well. Let's have a look inside. I know there was, while I was looking, I saw there was also a Super Famicom like turn-based JRPG for this series. However, I looked at the gameplay and I have to be honest, it looked pretty half-baked and pretty mediocre. So, and it wasn't cheap either, so I decided to pass on it, as tempting as it was. And now we're getting on a roll with the Sega Saturn game. We have another one. We have Sonic Jam. So, Sonic Jam, I bought it because even though I'm not a massive like fan of Sonic games, but I do enjoy them here or there. I have definitely respect for them. And Sonic Jam seemed like a really appealing package because it's the 3 original games plus Sonic and Knuckles plus a whole bunch of extra content like the explorable 3D world, in addition to like gallery features and all the behind the scenes content. What interests me the most actually is the fact that the original games, it's sort of like the director's cut versions of them. You can actually like change the difficulty, and that'll change the stage layout and stuff like that. So that really intrigued me. Also, I don't currently have a way to play a Sonic game like on a CRT, so I figured that this is probably a pretty good way to go. Another little interesting tidbit, I heard that this is actually not just like this, the Saturn isn't just emulating the Mega Drive games. Like, this is actually a from the ground up port of the originals, which is kind of bonkers to me that they put in the effort to do that, but you know, good on them. And also, exploring the 3D world will be interesting just to know what it would have been like if we got like a proper Sonic Team like 3D game on the Saturn. So yeah, this feels like one of those sort of, you know, quintessential games to have in your Saturn collection. And it's not too expensive these days, like considering the fact that you're getting, you know, 4 games plus extras. I think I got this for 2,300 yen, which is... I love how colourful this instruction menu is. I have to say that the disc is a little unnerving, just Sonic's eyes, they're just staring deep into my soul. Now, relating to House of the Dead, we have another Sega Saturn light gun game. We have Virtua Cop 2, and get this, I bought this game for a grand total of 1 yen. That's right, I bought it for 1 yen. I was the only person who bid on the auction, and the auction happened to start at 1 yen. So I got it for 1 yen. Of course I had to pay for proxy fees and shipping, naturally, but still, the fact that I bought the game itself for 1 yen is pretty insane. I'm assuming it's just like everyone who is interested in owning Virtua Cop 2 owns Virtua Cop 2 at this stage. I love these character designs at the back, and ooh, they gotta hide the last boss. Who could it be, I wonder? So we have, as the bosses, we have Bobby Louise, or Lewis? Louise or Lewis? Aerodivers, or Gas Bradley. I haven't played this game, but you know what? I'm guessing this is probably 1 yen well spent. Okay, another Sega Saturn game. We have Outrun. Now, this is probably, believe it or not, this is probably the most expensive game in this batch. This game goes for a lot these days, and I think it's because this particular version of Outrun is sort of considered the, I guess it's like the best home version. The only real better version is like the actual proper arcade version with like the machine and everything. And I think part of that is because obviously the Saturn can handle really good arcade sort of quality visuals, as is evident in their other ports. Like we've got Space Harrier in the last video, and that's pretty awesome. speaking of which, in that I did mention that Outrun is my favourite Sega Saturn sort of arcade game, at least older, if we go like older Sega arcade games. So yeah, that's why I was sort of willing to spend the money on this. I believe it has a hidden sort of 60 FPS mode, which even the arcade version doesn't have, and it has an arranged soundtrack as well. So I suppose all these factors sort of contribute to the fact that it is the most, or it's quite expensive. I ended up buying this for, I think 5,900 yen. So, you know, that's not cheap for an arcade game. But you know what? I figured I really want to Outrun on my Sega Saturn. It's my favourite Sega Saturn arcade game, so I did it. Interestingly, you said on the Mac that you can use the Sega Saturn like steering wheel peripheral, which I hear is actually really good. I hear it improves racing games like immensely. It does have the 3D controller on the back here, which if you watched the last video, you'll know that I now do own. So I'll be interested to see how it controls with the 3D controller compared to just a standard Sega Saturn controller. You gotta love that manual art. That is a real vibe. This is a pretty short instruction manual. That's because there's not heaps that you can actually really do. I do like at the back here, there's actually like a overview of every single course in the game, every single level, which that's actually really quite neat. Okay, next up we have, for the Super Famicom, we have F-Zero. I feel like F-Zero is just one of those games which you need in a Super Famicom collection. I've played a fair bit of F-Zero over the years, just, you know, here and there. It's just a really solid, fun racing game. I think even today, the sensor speed is still pretty phenomenal. And I love the sort of western, I don't even know, sort of cheesy western vibe that's going for here. Instruction manual's in alright condition. It's a little weathered, but overall it's not too bad. It's still got all that cheesy goodness at the back with these comics which are in English, and I love how they even have to like number. I'm assuming they had to number these speech bubbles so that Japanese audiences could understand like which way to read it, because obviously it's not supposed to be read the way manga is. It's a comic. The cartridge itself is pretty good. Pretty good. Man, got all this. There's so much English text in this packaging, man. Like on the back in the instruction manual, literally on the cartridge. Actually, you know what? The aspect of this packaging, which is just by far the worst, is actually the plastic container itself. It is very old and very weathered. I'm surprised that the instruction manual and cartridge, especially the cartridge, is in as good a condition as it is, because yeah, that plastic part is really quite gross, actually. To be honest, I kind of feel like I've got to wash my hands off on that. We've got a brown packaging this time. Whoa, what's in here? I'm not sure if I said this already, but not every single game in this import batch is actually a retro game. Because I have here a PS5 version of the Centennial Case, a Shijima story. This is a live-action mystery adventure game by the director of Shibuya 428 Scramble, or Shibuya Scramble 428. I forget what the order of that is. I'm having a bit of a mind blank. However, this seemed like a really intriguing game. I absolutely adore the cover art, and also the physical Japanese copy comes with English subs. I don't know too much about it. I know the sort of basic concept of the game. I know it has, you know, gotten some fairly decent reviews. Seemed intriguing, so I thought, yeah, I'd pick it up. Especially on the PS5, which it was a little hard to get a PS5 copy, actually. They're not as readily available as the PS4. PS4 copies. I feel like the PS5, like the white the white PS5 logo at the top really contrasts beautifully with the rest of the packaging. As is with modern games these days, not too much to talk about in regards to the like inside. There is, however, a very sort of cool, neat, reversible cover. There's also a download code for a mini soundtrack. Okay, we're getting down to the last few now. Alright, so here we have, well, it is Dragon Quest 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, all on the Super Famicom. Now I have a very mixed relationship with Dragon Quest. There are some things about it which I adore, and there are other things which I can't stand. However, I tried giving 8 a go, I've tried giving 11 a go. I like 8 a bit more than 11. Mainly it's the music, which is always a deal breaker for me. However, recently I was at a local retro game store and I picked up a loose copy of Dragon Quest V for about $5. And Dragon Quest V I know is considered like an absolute fan favourite, and I can see why, because I clicked with that game much more than I had any other Dragon Quest game, and it sort of makes me think that maybe the 2D ones are my jam, really. So I decided to essentially pick up the entire 2D set, really. So I bought this whole batch for about I think it was 6,900 yen, which you could find each one of these games cheaper individually. However, I really wanted to get it in like a batch, because that way you're paying far less in terms of like proxy fees and payment fees and all that sort of stuff. Some games are definitely more cheaper than others. Like I know that like 5 you can get for dirt cheap, probably because they made like 1 billion copies. 1 and 2 is slightly more expensive, maybe because it's 2 games, but also because I think it was a bit of a later release. Likewise with 3, Dragon Quest 3. I think Dragon Quest 3 on the Super Famicom is considered sort of the definitive version of the game. Pretty keen to see how the new version or the new remake turns out, the one that's using the 2D HD engine. So I'm hoping that just like I had a good time with 5, I'm hoping that I have a good time with the rest of these. 5, obviously I have a copy of 5 here, and it's because I actually wanted, I wanted the box and I wanted the manual and all that sort of stuff, so I thought, I might as well just get another copy, it's fine. Even already had my loose copy. And speaking of Dragon Quest, we have Dragon Quest 7 and 4. Now 4 is a bit of an interesting case because I believe it was a pretty late PS1 game, 2000 or 2001 if I recall, and it's a remake of the of 4 on the original Famicom. I believe it's using the same engine as 7. I could be wrong about that. I hear 7 is an absolute slog to get through, but so it's probably the one I'm going to leave for quite some time. But I figured I might as well get it anyway. Both of these were, they're cheap, to be honest. I think I got both of them for what, 1,400 yen, so what, 700 each. That's pretty good, honestly. Condition is fairly solid. Particularly inside the instruction manual for 4, it's very good. I really do miss days when game publishers, developers put so much more effort into their instruction manuals. Just one of the things that all these games have in common is just outstanding instruction manuals, with the exception of the PS5 game I got there. But all the others, just they're just a joy to flick through. So much colour, so much character, so much life. Such a creative way to tell people how to play your game. And then we have this, I believe, is the very last thing. So again, this is not a retro game per se, but it does have a bit of a retro flavour. We have the PS4 version of Cotton Reboot. I've been getting into the Cotton games lately. I haven't been buying any for the Sega Saturn because, well, they're ludicrously expensive, especially Boomerang. I mean, they're ludicrously expensive on like every platform. But I have been playing them through means, and I've really enjoyed them. And so I bought Cotton Rock and Roll recently, or Cotton Fantasy as it's known in the West, and so I figured I might as well, you know, keep the collection going. Might as well complete it with Cotton Reboot, which is I believe it's, I'm pretty sure it's a remake of the very first Cotton. Although I think you can actually play both the original version and a new version, like sort of an arranged remix version. To be honest, this special edition here, I could probably make an unboxing video just purely on this. I love the tea. I love the tea kind. This is a really nice packaging. By the way, I bought this for like sealed 6,000 yen, which is pretty outstanding. I think brand new it's like 10,000 yen. So clearly someone was just trying to get rid of it, which is kind of rare for Cotton because, you know, it's known for Cotton is known for its historically expensive aftermarket prices. I'm not going to go through this because there's a lot to unpack, literally, but I do know that there are some very nice goodies in here, including probably the biggest item, aside from the game itself, which is a teacup, a Japanese teacup, which, if you've played a Cotton game before, you'll know the significance of a teacup in the franchise. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I have to say, this feels like very premium packaging. You're getting a great little bundle here. Well, that's it for another video, guys. That was a massive video. That's a lot of games that I'm looking at right in front of me. I have to be honest, I've kind of hit a little bit of a, I don't know if plateau is the word, in terms of stuff I want to buy. I feel like I've sort of got the big major titles that I want at this stage. I mean, sure, there's plenty of other games that I can think off the top of my head that I would like, but none that I, you know, desperately want or anything like that. This batch has certainly taken a little bit of a toll on my wallet, that's for sure. So I'm gonna cool it for a bit and gonna lay off. I'm sure there will be another one of these videos one of these days. However, at this current stage, I'm quite satisfied with what I got. So thanks so much, guys, for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've somehow managed to actually get through this far, thank you. It's I'm very appreciative, and I also question how, but it does mean a lot nonetheless. So yeah, until next time, guys, I will see you around. Bye.